The first full official trailer should hush everybody up about whether this will or will not be a great Superman film. This trailer delivers on every aspect. By the way, I'm wearing the first costume he wears in the movie, the baggy sort of one before he gets the new. It has been confirmed, apparently, he will get a couple different costumes. This is the baggy one. Yeah, just ignore me fixing it all the time. I really like this. The thing that I was most worried about, and I say this all the time because, Christopher Reeve will always be my Superman, and it's the bar. Even for all the Marvel movies and every DC movie, it's the bar that every superhero movie tries to hit. And the transformation, the subtle transformation on how Christopher Reeve was able to take Clark Kent to Superman with something as simple as straightening from a slouch, and it's a completely different man that and I was worried about that. I'm like, because Cavill was good and I liked, Tyler Hoechlin but to me, they were always kind of just Clark and Superman felt the same to me. They didn't capture that. There's a reason why only a pair of glasses was a great disguise when it's Christopher Reeve, because that Clark was so undeniably no way Superman, even with just the glasses. And that hasn't been the case with these other ones. But Corn Sweat, he pulls it off in the very clip of this trailer where Lois wants to interview him as Superman, and he's playing a playful Clark, and then he gets a real Clark and then it immediately, the sit up, the posture, and the tone and the voice switches to a completely different person as Superman. And so that I'm thrilled with that. And the other thing that I really like, of course, we see Crypto in action, and we see Luthor, and we see all these great things. And I want to dive into it more when you start talking about like your thing. But the other thing that really stood out to me was him, and it's throughout the trailer, but when he's having the back and forth with Lois, trying to justify that he's not on behalf of anybody except for himself, and he's just trying to do good. He's just trying to save lives and be a beacon of hope. And he gets angry at her because she's kind of coming at him about, well, did you get a permission from the president? Do you realize you went into a country unauthorized without permission? And he's like, whoa, I'm just trying to be a good guy. And I like the fact that they weren't scared to make him get upset and defend himself as just a good guy. Don't make me the truth, justice, and American way guy that represents America. I'm Superman representing Superman, and I'm just trying to do good by the world. And so I was excited to see that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think an interesting point too, where Superman is at, where this story is being told throughout its chronological order, or their timeline that they're trying to put together, is a very interesting part, because it seems that Superman is not necessarily the most favorable person right now. It's definitely giving you a little bit of like a Civil War, comparing it to Marvel again, to where like the government may or may not be trying to control him at the moment, like use this for justice, blah blah blah, like you're at our beck and call. But he's still fighting and resisting that, because he is the beacon of hope. He is
Exactly.
the person who is like, he is the superhero that is compared to Jesus or God.
Right.
He's the end all be all superhero. So yeah, I think that is a very interesting point to see, because I mean, we had to go through what, 12 years basically worth of Marvel movies before we got to a point where the government in the films were like, hey, you're also blowing up buildings and fucking up our shit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I think it's a good starting point for James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC universe to be like, this is Superman. He saves people, but also there needs to be things to be accounted for, right? Like people getting injured in the crosshairs accidentally, or buildings falling, people not having their homes anymore. So I think that's an awesome take, and a very different take than what Marvel took, and I think that definitely gives an advantage to DC, at least this time around, when they're trying to present a whole new storyline when it comes to these characters.
Right. And it goes back to how I like how they're humanizing him. yes, he's this alien with all these worldly powers, you know, and he does all this crazy and amazing stuff. But it's the moments with his dad, or when he's laying on the bed and his faithful pup is just chilling on his belly, you know, and it's the humanizing. Or, like I said, when he gets upset as Clark towards Lois about how, what do you mean? You know I'm a good guy. We love each other. Why are you coming at me? That's a human emotion. You know I'm good. Why are you saying I'm doing bad things, kind of thing. So I like that they're not scared to say, yes, he's this alien being, but he's been living on Earth for a long time. He was raised by Earth parents, and he's human. And you know, so I like that they're not scared to go at that, which is going to be really...
I mean, they already, like, we're skipping the part where Lois didn't know that he was
they're
Superman.
already together, apparently, as a couple.
Yeah,
so
and that's an interesting perspective too, because, you know, the industry is so used to origin stories, and I love how they've decided to go away from that.
Yes.
Right? To be able to create something completely their own, like kind of jumping ahead of things. Like, there's no A, B, C order how you should start situations. Everybody knows where Superman comes from.
Yeah, we've seen it.
We've seen it so many times with so many different actors playing this character. So I'm glad that we're kind of jump starting to this spot.
Same.
I think that's awesome.
And I always love James Gunn because he's always so creative, and he's such a fan himself that he likes to fuck with the fans. Like, so when Lois is interviewing him and she says, "Did you get permission from the president?" It's a shot of Lex. And so all the fandom is freaking out about, oh, we're going to go that route already. Lex is already president. And we should wait before that happens. And they're just assuming because she says, "Did you check with the president?" And we're seeing Lex, that's the case. And Gunn waited a little bit, but finally confirmed, no, he is not the president. That's just how it laid out in the trailer. But you can't tell me that wasn't intentional, because he likes to do little things like that to fuck with the fans. He wants to fire him up. It's like, oh, should we make him president? Let's make him think we made him president, but no, kind of a thing. The thing, and I think, you know, it'll be my wrap up on this, and then if you have a wrap up on it, is what is undeniable in this trailer is what James Gunn has been saying basically his whole life. And if you listen to Rosenbaum, who they're like really close, tight, best friends, Rosenbaum will tell you the same thing. Basically, since childhood, James Gunn has said Superman was an iconic, important, lovable character in his life that he had great passion for because of the relationship with his dad and because of how the thing... And this trailer shows that is true. You can tell this man cares about this character and what this character stands for and wants to get it right. And it just, in my opinion, it cannot be a bad movie when you are that passionate about the character and about getting him right.
Yes, completely agree, and I'm very excited to see this film in general. I think it's going to be good. I think it is going to do big numbers. I don't do a lot of box office predictions anymore, but I think, you know, anywhere between, because I definitely feel like it'll go over the $100 million mark.
I think so too.
In the opening weekend globally. So I'm betting like anywhere between 110 to 125 million, that little 15 million window.
Globally or just domestically? And then maybe globally. Globally. What do you think domestically then? An opening weekend in America, like 90?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Because I'm comparing it to other superhero movies that are coming out right now, and I think the anticipation is so big that it's going to outperform the other superhero movies like Captain America and Thunderbolt.
See, I agree with that. Yeah. That's why I'm giving it somewhere, realistically, I think somewhere between 90 and 100 million opening, maybe even 105 if it gets strong word of mouth, which I think it will. I mean, keep in mind, you're going to get a lot of Marvelous Miss Maisel fans packing out that theater. You're going to get a lot of Nicholas Hoult fans because he's been in a ton of stuff that people know and love. Corn Sweat's really the most least known out of all of them. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think if it, much like Sinners, if it can get a lot of really strong word of mouth coming out of the Thursday night previews and into Friday, I think we could see it crack 100 for domestic.
I know it's so interesting you say that specific part with Rachel and Nicholas, because I think that too. I think, they will draw in people because they've been very popular recently and have been in quite a few things.
Right.
But I was listening to The Town with Matt Bellany, and freaking, he doesn't think that Rachel Brosnahan or Nicholas Holt are going to be like any sort of draw. I'm like, what are you talking about? They've
What?
been
Like,
everywhere. Like, I understand the movies that they've been in and the shows that they've been in haven't really been as relevant as other big blockbuster things recently within the last 2 or 3 years, but I still feel like those names are a draw, and you will get people in the seats because of those names.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, I disagree, Matt. I disagree. I like to subtweet him on
Yeah,
Twitter.
I
So
would
that's always fun.
disagree with that too, because really, like, what else does anybody know? And then, really, unless you're like us, who else even knows David Corn Sweat? It's like you have to go, wait, he was on what? Hollywood? On Netflix?
Yeah.
What? Who? What? I mean, that's like basically the only thing I really know him from, like, was
Yeah.
like, oh, that guy.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
nobody's
so,
thinking of him in Twisters.
No,
Like, he's
no.
always, he has a hat on the whole time, so nobody even realizes that's the
That's
same
right.
guy.
That's right.
Like,
And then there was another cute little rom-com movie where he time traveled type thing with a record store and kind of a thing. And that, but nobody really saw that either. So it's basically, if you missed him in Hollywood on Netflix, you have no idea who this guy really is. So, which I like, because that's how Superman should be. You should be focused on Superman and not the actor playing him. And I think this was probably well done, John Papsidero. Well done.
yes, he did absolutely amazing.